Okay guys, welcome back to another blockchain news video. Here we are coming back from about a week hiatus with blockchain news. Currently the drop that took place here with the crypto market due to the, let's call it the outbreak, let's call it the situation, just because of YouTube's current algorithms seem to be not working too well with people that are sitting the name. They don't want misinformation going on. But today we're going to be doing we're going to get some fresh news going on with the cryptocurrency space, and we're going to be taking a look at what's really going on behind the scenes. I wanted to take a moment, and I did take that week because I really wanted to understand what was going on. We do have a global crisis, right? And many people are currently either unsafe or sick or just trying to keep themselves isolated as per guidance or many different governments are currently sharing with people. So the main thing to keep in mind here before anything, right, outside of finance and whatnot, is to remain safe. Keep your family safe, look after each other, make sure everybody's good. And after that, you know, we definitely come back and get down with cryptocurrency, finance, and all that good stuff. So just to get a quick recap on current market conditions, we are at 5,900 for Bitcoin, Ethereum 125, XRP 15 cents. Bitcoin Cash 206, Bitcoin SV 164. Of course, these numbers are extremely low compared to the last time I covered them. And if we take a quick look here at Coin360, we can see that the current market is just absolutely devastated. You know, there's no other word for it. We came down from the 10,000 USD Bitcoin level. We went all the way down, I believe, to about 3,600. And that's a pretty big dip. You know, that's a pretty high dip, guys. You know, there's nothing to scoff at. You know, it's nothing to joke around with. And I know a lot of us, you know, are in this market. But it was honestly very frustrating to see how the market just took a turn for the low, even though this is digital currencies. You know, I'm, you know, and it took me some time just to kind of gather myself and really figure out what the heck people were doing. I know that the stock markets took a huge hit. Hey, that was expected. Why was that expected? Well, because there's all kinds of negative news going on with, you know, travel, businesses, people, physical touch, right? People are trying to keep a distance and all that good stuff. So in the end, that made sense for, you know, a downturn, maybe a drop, hey, even a crash, right? Even what we're seeing now. But what was just confusing was this number. And I do have some information on that, and it's going to be centered around the idea of miners having to sell off. We're going to be diving more into that idea. But I think as a whole, something to keep in mind is going forward, the crypto market is not, the crypto market is correlated 1-to-1 almost with the S&P 500, and it has been for almost 2 years. You know, I thought it wasn't going to be. I thought we were just going to take the Bitcoin halving seriously, but there is a lot of weak hands in this space. There's a lot of people that jumped into this space after the 2017, 2018 early boom with the market that have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea why they're possibly in cryptocurrency other than to you know, make some extra income, and that's understandable. But this is a whole new branch of technology. This is a whole new phase of understanding for a lot of people, and that is what reflected into the market itself. Now, with the panic that took place and the selling, that then led to the miners having to sell due to not being able to make profits, and that's going to take us here into our first article, essentially saying Bitcoin halving delayed. It's going to be following the recent Bitcoin sell-off because the average block time now, guys, is increased to 14 minutes. Now, the biggest issue here that we have is a couple things. First is not only the Bitcoin halving being delayed, but second is the effect that that's going to have on the people and the followers, the people that were possibly holding for that event. Now, this information was just posted here about a day ago, and I believe it'll continue to make rounds. That was here in the weekend, so I want to say Saturday or Sunday for some of you guys. But in essence, some people are going to come into the market here on Monday. They're going to see news like this, and they might pull out, you know. And being that we are holding at this 5,900 USD level for Bitcoin, we could continue to see more sell-off because now the halving has been pushed back according to these new block time levels, potentially back to May 13th. And it was expected to be in April, and now it's going to be expected around the May 13th date. And that is because we've seen an increase of over 70% due to miners shutting down their equipment. So now, again, that comes twofold. Now that comes to further, affect the market emotionally, psychologically, because now people, are getting more impatient, right? Not only are they currently dealing with the situation that's taking place around the world, but a lot of people are self-quarantining. They're also having to remain home, and people are going to get antsy. People make bad decisions when they're afraid and uncomfortable. And so what we've seen was fear, and now we're going to start seeing discomfort, and we're definitely going to be seeing the market get affected. The only way that I see this being avoided is going to be because, whales try to pump this up. A lot of people like myself are going to think it's a bull trap, and we're going to, potentially keep our money on the sidelines unless we probably see some higher levels that do correlate with some proper technical analysis. But for the time being, I've seen this push to 6,300 back down to 5,921. I don't know what to expect here in the morning of Monday. And as the markets continue to open up, I don't know what people will be doing. So we've seen the stock market get absolutely crushed, like I mentioned in the video right now earlier. And to reference some of the current cases, situations taking place in the world, we're seeing higher numbers right now. We're seeing the US here on the third level. And we've seen now there's a few important numbers here. So for China, we're now seeing that recovered cases are a very high percentage. So 72,000 out of 81,000. Just doing quick mental math here, definitely over 85%. Let's just say 85%, 80%. So right now, that is a very good number to see, but we are not seeing that in the rest of the world just yet, right? We're seeing a lot of cases where there's deaths that have outpaced China. For example, here in Italy, that's sitting at around 5,476, and in China that was 3,261. And all this is going to connect back to cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. And even though I was really trying to avoid doing this, I am starting to see the long term. And unfortunately, we got to go over it, guys. We got to touch base on this, not only just for just as an update, but also just to give you guys the best piece of information I have. So when we look here at the US, lower on deaths and stuff, but currently at that third level with confirmed cases. As we know, China, US, big countries, right? They're going to push, and they're going to have a lot of people that are going to be involved in these markets. And if they're caught up by what's taking place around the world, that's going to distract interest. That's going to distract motivation and commitment for people to have on Bitcoin until they see changes. And then you got to tack on the fear that people have from the stock market, from the oil market, and other stuff that did go down. Even though we've seen some percentages move up on those in the oil industry, I believe we are still, not out of the trap here, because the entire world, it's seeing a bunch of cases, and that's going to delay work. That's going to delay a lot of things. So moving on. Let's cover this one here. It says, did Bitcoin miners crash Bitcoin price with 51 days before the halving? Basically, it just revolves around the same idea that, hey, miners had to dump over a quarter of a million Bitcoin, and that was due to the current prices right now being stable enough for people to run their systems. Certain miners can't afford to continue to go at that price. And so here we see different levels on the charts that were broken through. We had this drop all the way from around 9,000 level, nearly 3,600. It was the lowest, I believe, down here. And then we found some support at that 4,200 and 5,800. There are some articles that are celebrating in regards to this current support. I think it's important to keep in mind that we are not out of the emotional negative sentiment that people have towards this right now. Prices are something that people look at. and they don't just look at for technical analysis. They are very emotional. People are very emotional. So just getting off of that for a little bit, we're going to go into Ethereum 2.0, and a current breakthrough that is being highlighted is polynomial commitments. These are looking like they're going to be pretty big for Ethereum's 2.0 development. And as we look into this roadmap that Vitalik Buterin pushed out, he is looking at a commitment of about 5 to 10 years for ETH2, and that looks pretty good. So I got very excited. I was taking a look at it, and then as I kept covering the article and just kind of highlighting the important stuff, I noticed that this is a multi-year push to ETH 2.0. But then when I go to look at the actual image, it was showing the polynomial commitments for block data and state all the way out in phase 2. Now, here's the issue, is that we are not even in phase 0 of ETH 2.0. And that is supposed to come out here in June or July. Of course, we weren't accounting for the current global situation that's taking place now. Granted, I do, and I know I'm very aware that programming developers, right? This is something we can do from home. You know, it's something I do from home, and everybody should be able to kind of keep pace. But you got to take into account, you know, people that need to get supplies, that are distracted by perhaps getting sick and stuff like that. You know, these are real, very important things that are going to keep attention from perhaps development. So we don't know how development can get delayed here, but hey, it could take maybe a few months, and then factor in the recovery of the current overall global situation, plus these phases where phase 3 is the last one. So if we look at phase 2, and he's saying 5 to 10 years for ETH 2.0 upgrade session, we're probably looking at 7 years from now, hypothetically, for this great solution for scalability. And that's been the issue that Ethereum has had. It's constantly been searching and fighting after a proper implementation for their scalability problem. And yeah, right now that's where we're at. You know, unfortunately, it's more of the same. It's more delays, and it's frustrating. You know, obviously there's innovation taking place, but the main point to keep in mind is also, before, you know, my last video, I covered Ethereum and it was above 200, you know, and I said, hey, that might have been the last time to get Ethereum under 200. Here we are at 124, and I think I even saw Ethereum under $100, to be honest, in this past week. So it's, you know, it's a give and take kind of thing. You know, it's putting that trust in Ethereum 2.0, believing that the market sentiment is going to turn around. You know, obviously the market's going to go up, which we do know. But it's, hey, when is it going to happen? You know, and then deciding to capitalize on this opportunity, because with ETH 2.0, we're still going to have staking take place, guys. So this just lowered the barrier to get the 32 Ethereum to be able to stake. So, hey, it might be a bargain. Moving on, we do have, while you're under quarantine, check these sites for remote crypto jobs. I figured I'd highlight this for you guys. I don't know how many people today, unfortunately, might not have work, might not have opportunities, but, you know, working from home continues to grow year over year. There seem to be more remote jobs going on. And if you have been interested in some form of work for cryptocurrency or blockchain, it seems like there are different websites that you can get connected with to go ahead and seek those remote jobs out. So you have cryptocurrencyjobs.co. You also have crypto.jobs, and the first one that I named has over 100 current blockchain jobs who can work from distance for Binance, Sapo, and Bitrefill. You can do also cryptojobslist.com has published over 1,000 job postings. You can filter from remote positions too. So it seems like these are pretty good. And thinking about it, these are just for cryptocurrency mainly. There's a few other ones here, blocklancer.net, remote OK.io, blockew.com, and they seem to just keep the job posting going. So feel free to check those out. I figured, hey, if we are going to be sitting in our homes, it might be quite some time, especially with, you know, just what we talked about, right? Talking about the map, talking about how long it took China here to get those recovery cases, and are they back to normal? you know, that's a real kicker here because it's been quite a few months for them. So how long could it be for us? Now, next up, the internet may be next victim of the current situation. Netflix, Google, Apple, and Amazon react. So we know that we have streaming services that are currently, you know, everybody's favorite, right? We have Amazon Prime, Netflix, we have YouTube, right? And Apple TV and all that good stuff. But what's currently happening with Europe's internet infrastructure is that it's being hurt by the current influx of people on the internet, and we don't have people down on the ground working on the infrastructure since everybody has to be at home. So what's happening here is that Netflix, for example, is switching to standard definition when HD is not absolutely necessary. You know, other companies are currently pushing people to lower their bit rates, and that's going to be for 30 days. That's what Netflix decided. Also, we see that Google has decided to make a commitment. They're temporarily switch off traffic in the EU to standard definition by default. You know, so again, these are more things, guys, that are going to affect people, that are going to mentally frustrate them, right? Because they have to be in their homes, and now here we are, we can't even properly get HD video. Not that, you know, other people's lives are going to end because of that, but hey, it's a standard, right? We're used to, some of us are even into 8K, you know, most of us are have 4K TVs, and some of us have 1080p's, right? So going back to that standard definition is pretty harsh. Prime Video is also looking with local authorities to, you know, work with internet service providers and see what they can do to help the network congestion. But overall, the EU, also Disney Plus, is going to have some throttling for their network services, and it just looks like the European subs are going to be hurting here. So I just want to keep you guys up to date on that. And then last but not least, we have Bitcoin's correlation with S&P 500 at 2-year high amid the current situation. So like I mentioned, guys, you know, I really thought that we were going to come out here with this year in Bitcoin and things were just going to move on up. We were overdue for that, but hey, the only single thing that goes against technical analysis is just emotional, irrational decisions by the market. And that's what we currently have. And we are not expecting to be out of this tomorrow. As you could see, the correlation, it seems like when people freak out about the S&P or their current stocks, they're also pulling money out from other markets. And Bitcoin seems to be affected. We have people like Mike Novogratz claiming that investors lost faith in Bitcoin, or confidence in Bitcoin is a better word. And it seems to be true. You know, I'd hate to say stuff like that, but it seems to be true. So keep your eyes on the prize. At the end of the day, this is all frustrating and can definitely be a setback. But if you have time, which I believe some of us do, I think having the opportunity to accumulate at this level is a lot better than having missed this opportunity. So hey, like they always say out there, for some, a crisis can be a crisis, but for another person, it can definitely be an opportunity. I'm going to be taking advantage of these levels, guys. I'm going to do my best to figure out if we can go lower. I'm going to keep you guys up to date with the news, and expect the news to be dry. Honestly, that's all I'm saying. I've scoured the internet for better news, and it's completely a bunch of articles are just opinions. You know, there isn't really anything major going on out there. Smaller things like MoneyGram working with XRP, saying that they made a lot of money from XRP, but then that kind of did not correlate with some of the other things that I had covered throughout the year. So I decided to leave that one out for this one. In any case, stay safe, stay healthy, guys, stay with your families. I hope you enjoyed this video. Go ahead and click the like button if you did. Support me here by subscribing to the channel. I'm going to be bringing you guys more blockchain news as we move along throughout this week. I'll see you guys on the next one.